Good morning, Savvy family. It's Tuesday, July 24th, 2018. Our devotional reading today comes from Job chapter 19. This is Job's response to his friend Bildad. And what we see here as you read through this is that Job feels tormented by his friends. He once again gives a brief synopsis of how everything has been taken away from him. And he believes that God considers him to be an enemy. And we know that while it is often true that God will, that he does in fact pour out his wrath on mankind, but we also realize that even for those that hope in Jesus Christ, who are trusting in the Lord with all their heart, who've been born again, who are justified through the blood of Christ in the eyes of God, we know that even they fall into trials and calamities in life, and that when we see someone going through a trial, we've used this example in the past. Take Jeremiah Thomas. Consider him a godly young man going through much trial and tribulation right now. God does not consider his children to be enemies. At one time, all of God's children were his enemies, but he makes them his friends. He reconciles them to himself through the blood of his son Jesus. So Job, I'll to be honest with you, I don't know what to make of Job's back and forth double-mindedness, other than it's truly very similar to the way we all respond to trials. Oftentimes, I believe it's very similar. Because when you get over to verse 25, you see that though Job feels crushed, he feels abandoned and alone, he definitely feels betrayed by his friends, he still has some hope. And this hope is for us as well. It's something that we need to keep in mind. So starting in verse 25, he says this: "As for me, I know that my Redeemer lives, and at the last he will take his stand on the earth. Even after my skin is destroyed, yet from my flesh I shall see God, whom I myself shall behold, and whom my eyes will see, and not another." So it sounds to me, I believe that he's referring to the Messiah. His hope is in God. He knows that there will be a day that even after his body is dead and in the grave, even after his skin and flesh are destroyed, one day he's going to see God and behold God from within his flesh. He's going to be resurrected from the dead. And this is what he's talking about here. So all the way back, before the Bible was even compiled and put together and written, there's this man Job, righteous Job, upright, God-fearing Job, who offered sacrifices for his children, burnt offerings for his children, who loved God and who was blessed by God. This man realizes that there's going to come a day when the dead are raised to life, that our spirits will be reunited with our bodies, and some will as Pastor Joseph preached on Sunday, there's going to be a day when the goats are separated from the sheep, and the sheep will go into everlasting joy with our Heavenly Father. But the goats they'll have their place in the lake of fire. And Job seems to be looking forward to that day. he seems to recognize that his body and his life right now is just, it's torment. It's terrible. He's degenerating, and he just doesn't see he doesn't seem to be putting much stock in the flesh at this point. He's looking forward to that day when he'll get a new body and he'll be able to see God with new eyes, face to face. And so that should be our hope today, that though trials may come, we do have a Redeemer. He does live. Jesus, as we say in the Apostles' Creed oftentimes, he rose from the grave and he sits at the right hand of God the Father Almighty. From thence he shall come to judge the living and the dead. Christ is alive. He came back to life after the third day. And that's good news for us as Christians. And so I pray you have a blessed day today. And children, be diligent. Do your studies well. Respect your mother. Honor your father and mother. Love one another. Be obedient. And I'll see you children tonight. And I love you, Kelly. I love you, Madeline. Love you, Henry. And love you, Samuel. Bye-bye.